Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg facing growing backlash over this week's FAA ground stop that brought all flights to a standstill. A new report reveals that it was caused by a single engineer. An official telling ABC News that the engineer, quote, replaced one file with another during routine scheduled systems maintenance, not realizing the mistake was being made. The issue led to a wave of delays and cancellations and the first nationwide ground stop since the September 11th terror attacks. And Pete Buttigieg, who has made multiple promises to improve experiences for travelers, keeps falling short. More and more headlines calling out his troubles. Axios writing this: historic transportation crises haunt Buttigieg. Wall Street Journal calling it Pete Buttigieg's big airline glitch. And Bloomberg out with a new piece: Buttigieg's ambitions dented by air travel meltdown. Sometimes I wonder if Pete Buttigieg, his transportation secretary, told me because he's a good-looking young guy and just smiles a lot, because he's been, in my opinion, a complete failure so far.
Yeah, or he fit a profile. I mean, I think there's a lot of folks that they fit a nice profile and you have high hopes for them and you hope that they deliver, and then sometimes it doesn't work out. And that is certainly the case with Pete Buttigieg. But what are his qualifications to have this role, by the way? The former mayor of South Bend, Indiana, and then a failed presidential candidate. I mean, really not much in the way of securing a transportation or doing anything.
Well, I was more focusing on, yeah, he's a good-looking guy, I will say that, but I was more focused on the fact, that he doesn't, if you look at his resume and his qualifications, I mean, he couldn't get potholes fixed and when he was mayor of South Bend, Emily. So I think that's kind of, and now, the Journal's pointing out the fact that he keeps, these big platitudes are coming out. He's doing these interviews and saying, oh, we're going to take care of the problem, we're on it. But we've had two massive travel meltdowns. And that's what I'm saying. I think he's coming up short in the job right now.
That's right. I think a harsh criticism and accurate was his lack of experience, both for the presidential candidacy and also here as well. And I think we're seeing fundamental, multiple failures under his watch. You can rise to the occasion and prove your chops, or you can predictably fail. And I think it's also it's under the overlay of him traveling to Portugal while the union rail strikes were being really while everyone else had their sleeves rolled up and digging into it, and him doing a selfie in the airport and pretending like he was on American soil, taking a private jet to Canada to receive an award to further LGBTQ rights, while again the system is crumbling. I have to point out, you guys, that today, by the way, exactly today, is the 5-year anniversary of the threat in Hawaii, the accidental ballistic missile threat. Yep. And remember, that was a slight error. Just like here, where, oh, I'm sorry, one guy clicked the wrong button, and it grounds everything, and it underscores the vulnerability of the system, the fragility of it, and why it is so detrimental to all of us when all of these energies and budgeting are being put toward call this person this name now and name this center after Pelosi, but let's not address the, quote, failing vintage hardware that hallmarks and encompasses or comprises the entire federal travel security system. So I personally am frightened, and I'm worried for our future the longer the Democrats have hold, because their priorities are going to be in the wrong place, just like Buttigieg.
Well, we all on this couch are frequent travelers, but I have to say here, Delta and JetBlue both said we could have operated earlier this week with that ground stop because they had systems in place to kind of get around the NODAM or whatever that gives pilots information. At the same time, to that point, technology, all the money that we have spent, all that bailout money that went to the airlines, all the money that goes into the FAA, to the Transportation Department in general, and these systems are a complete failure. And one engineer, who's going to probably get fired at this point, sadly, is going to take the brunt of it.
Well, the government doesn't do anything well. So, I mean, I'm not surprised, in fairness to Mayor Pete, but there is something to Tommy's point about identity. The left needs to understand that identity, your background, your race is a part of your story. It's not the complete picture of the story. And when you have an administration that on day one wanted the photography of their cabinet looking like America and not highlighting that this was going to be the most competent administration in America while still looking like America, I think it's problematic. And we see this time and time again. It's not just Mayor Pete, it's Kamala Harris not being fit for a lot of the roles that she's been given. She was the border czar, yet it's not done anything for the border. You got Karine Jean-Pierre, who is in the briefing room. Everyone knows, if they're honest, that she's not competent enough for the job. Everybody knows that when things hit the fan, they send Admiral Kirby in there to do the job, but he doesn't get the title. So I think this is not just a White House problem. This is a liberal ideology problem. Pick people that look like America, but also can do the job if you're so passionate about diversity, because when you don't, you ruin it for the next person behind them.
Yeah, Jess.
I'm just curious on everyone's thoughts about Ben Carson as HUD secretary. So, genius surgeon, right? I can't separate conjoined twins. Where's his qualification to be housing secretary? And Bueller?
What was
Bueller?
Carson's scandal with the HUD?
Well, I'm not talking about that.
fail.
What was the
What
scandal?
happened to him? What
I'm just
did he
saying,
do?
what was the
What did he
scandal
accomplish?
with
Listen, it
Carson
is
and HUD?
people from, and
There wasn't.
I'm very conscious of the fact, obviously, that you are Black, Lawrence, and I am white. So I'm making this point and treading carefully about this, but giving people from traditionally disadvantaged groups who have been underserved, who haven't had these opportunities, the chance to do something and to be prominent and to be the face of something is something that is important and something that makes America great. There are people all over this country who are gay, straight, who are excited by the fact that we have Pete Buttigieg and Chasten Buttigieg in a position of power where they are out there as two gay dads, people taking paternity leave, people staying in the hospital. One of their kids was on a ventilator. I am so sick of hearing about him shirking his details. I'm a new mom. I get it, maybe this makes me overly passionate about it. If my daughter was on a ventilator, you couldn't get me into any meeting. I don't care about this. There were headlines today from the Daily Caller, I think, saying, oh, Pete Buttigieg wasn't responding to meetings. Your kid's on a vent. You get a pass for that. I don't care what your job is. You have a deputy.
But I will say, if you're the
So tell me
CEO,
about how
but
Ben
his
Carson.
I mean, that's true and unrelated to the wake he's
It's
leaving.
not.
Right.
It's not. It's
Destruction.
these
He's
criticisms. It's
failing.
basically what they're saying.
No,
is
that's not what I'm
his
saying.
Qualification
That's not what I'm
is
saying.
that he's gay.
No.
Yeah.
That's right.
What I'm saying
Well,
is,
so you
what
were
is his
saying-
qualification
What
to do
was
the
it?
job?
What was the qualification
So
for the
Pete
job?
Buttigieg is one of the more competent people in this country. He was a very successful
And we're seeing it.
consultant.
Totally, but
he
not
was
necessarily
a
in this
well-liked
position. To
mayor.
your point about Carson and HUD.
But he's not doing well in this role. That is the point. Is he's
Guys,
not doing
it's
well
gross.
in this role.
Yeah.
It's gross.
Nothing to do with his
Gotta wrap it
identity.
up.
He's just
We're
not
gonna
doing
have-
well.
We're going to have more on this,
Looking forward to
obviously,
the break.
throughout the day. Yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.